Is someone in your life right now is making things harder than they need to be? Maybe it's a coworker who undermines you in meetings, a family member who pushes every button, or a stranger who just gets under your skin. And the worst part? You walk away feeling like you lost control, not them. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to stay calm, stay clear, and handle difficult people without losing yourself in the process. This isn't about being passive or nice. It's about being effective. Because here's the truth. How you respond to difficult people says everything about your emotional intelligence, your leadership, and your peace of mind. Let's get into it. Step 1. Diagnose before you react. Most difficult behavior isn't actually about you. It's about them, their fear, their insecurity, their need for control. There are 4 common types of difficult people. First, the aggressor. This is the most visible type. The aggressor is combative, loud, and uses pressure or intimidation to get what they want. They interrupt. They raise their voice. They make ultimatums. In a meeting, they dominate. In a disagreement, they attack. Here's what's important to understand about the aggressor. Underneath the aggression is almost always fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of not being taken seriously. Fear of being exposed as less capable than they want to appear. The aggression is armor. That doesn't mean you absorb it. But when you understand that their loudness is rooted in anxiety, not actual power, they become far less intimidating. Your job with the aggressor is never to match their volume. It's to stay grounded, lower your energy, and refuse to be pulled into the fight they're trying to start. 2. The passive aggressor. This type is trickier because the behavior is harder to name in the moment. The passive aggressor never says what they actually mean. They agree to your face and undermine you behind your back. They make cutting comments and then say, "I was just joking." They withdraw, go silent, and make you feel the tension, but deny that anything is wrong when you ask. The core of passive aggression is suppressed anger that doesn't feel safe to express directly. What makes this so draining is the ambiguity. You're left questioning yourself. Did that mean something, or am I being too sensitive? The answer is almost always, yes, it meant something. And the most effective thing you can do with a passive aggressor is gently name what you're observing without accusing. 3. The complainer. The complainer exists in a permanent state of grievance. Nothing is ever quite right. The job, the team, the process, the weather. They come with problems, and they want to be validated, witnessed, and shared. The trap with the complainer is that if you listen and empathize endlessly, you become their emotional dumping ground, and nothing ever changes. Dealing with a complainer requires a different strategy. Your job isn't to shut them down. It's to redirect them. From problem dwelling to problem solving. What do you think would help is one of the most powerful questions you can ask a complainer, because it interrupts the loop and asks them to participate in a solution. 4. Finally, the know-it-all. The know-it-all is dismissive of ideas that aren't their own. In groups, they position themselves as the authority, whether or not they've earned it. What drives this behavior is usually a deep need to feel competent and respected. The more you challenge them directly, the more entrenched they become, because now their ego is on the line. Instead, the most effective approach is to work with their need to feel expert. Ask them questions, draw their knowledge out, and then introduce your perspective as an addition, not a contradiction. You're packaging it in a way they can actually receive. Here's why this matters so much. If you try to set firm limits with a know-it-all without understanding their ego structure, you'll create an enemy. If you treat an aggressor the same way you treat a passive aggressor, you'll fail with both of them. If you respond to a complainer with pure empathy and no redirection, you'll be drained within weeks. Most of us have one or more of these personality types within us. Which personality shows up depends on the situation they are currently facing. So it's important to figure out the personality of the person you are dealing with in that situation. The type of difficult personality in front of you determines the tool you reach for. And the only way to pick the right tool is to pause, observe, and diagnose before you react. Step 2. The pause protocol. Here's what happens next. The moment the difficult behavior shows up, your nervous system lights up. Your heart rate climbs. Your jaw tightens. Your mind starts racing with everything you want to say. And that's the moment most people lose. The brain's threat response kicks in, and suddenly you're not responding from your best self. That's exactly what the pause protocol is designed to interrupt. It's a 5-step internal process you can run in under 10 seconds. And once it becomes a habit, it will change every difficult interaction you have. Let's go through each step, not just what it is, but why it works. Pause physically. Before you say a single word, take one deep breath. This sounds almost embarrassingly simple, but here's what it actually does. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your biology responsible for calm and clear thinking. With the pause, your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for judgment, language, and strategy, gets back in the driver's seat. One breath. That's the whole step. Acknowledge internally. Before you address what's happening outside you, address what's happening inside you. Say to yourself, this person is struggling. I don't have to match their energy. Repeat, I'm calm and I'm relaxed. This step is about creating a quick psychological separation between you and the behavior being directed at you. This internal acknowledgement is your firewall. It reminds you that you are an observer of this situation, not just a participant being swept along by it. The best part is, it only takes a second. Nobody can see you doing it, but you will feel the difference immediately. Understand their need. This is the step that separates people who are merely calm from people who are genuinely effective. Ask yourself, what does this person actually need underneath this behavior? Not what they're saying, not what they're doing, but what need is driving it. It's a clumsy, unskillful attempt in most cases, but it's an attempt nonetheless. The aggressor needs to feel respected and in control. The passive aggressor needs to feel safe enough to be honest. The complainer needs to feel heard and less alone. The know-it-all needs to feel competent and valued. When you can identify the underlying need, even imperfectly, you unlock a completely different level of response. You don't need to analyze them deeply in the moment. You just need to ask yourself one quick question. What do they need right now? Even a rough answer will shift how you engage. Speak slowly and clearly. When tension rises, most people do one of two things. They speed up or they go silent. Speeding up signals anxiety, and anxiety is readable. Going completely silent, on the other hand, can read as avoidance. And with certain types, like the aggressor, silence gets filled with more aggression. The move is to slow down and speak. There's a reason that the calmest person in a heated room often has the most authority. When everyone else is loud and fast, the person who is slow and clear becomes the gravitational center. Take up a little more time than feels comfortable. Let your words land before the next ones come out. Make sure they're saying, I am not rattled, I am not in a hurry. Exit if needed. This is the step most people either forget entirely or feel too guilty to use. Not every difficult interaction needs to be resolved right now. In fact, trying to force resolution in the middle of a charged moment is often the worst possible timing. Exiting, temporarily, gracefully, is not weakness. It is strategy. You simply say, calmly and clearly, I want to give this the attention it deserves. Let me come back to you on this. Or even just, can we pick this up in an hour? You don't owe anyone an explanation for needing time to respond thoughtfully. And in most cases, a brief pause, even 20 minutes, dramatically changes the quality of the conversation that follows. The exit step is also your protection against saying the thing you'll regret, and your future self will thank you every single time. Let's run through it one more time. Fast. Pause physically. 1 breath. Acknowledge internally. You are in control. Understand what's underneath their behavior. Speak slowly and clearly. Exit if needed. What makes this protocol powerful isn't any single step. It's the sequence. Each step builds on the last. Most difficult interactions are won or lost in the first 15 seconds. The pause protocol is what you do in those 15 seconds. Practice it when the stakes are low, small frustrations, minor irritations. So it's already a reflex when the stakes are high, because the moments that test you the most are exactly the moments you won't have time to think. You'll only have time to fall back on what's already been practiced. Step 3. What to actually say. Okay, you've diagnosed the type of difficult person in front of you. You've run the pause protocol. You're calm, you're grounded. Now comes the part everyone actually wants to know. What do I say? So let's go type by type. And for each one, I'm not just going to give you a script. I'm going to explain why the language works, so you can adapt it to your specific situation, rather than reciting lines that feel robotic. 1. When someone is aggressive, tensions are rising and anger is in the air. It's easy to feel like you're under attack. Instead of escalating with a challenge statement like, "Don't talk to me like that," consider a different approach. Start with, "I want to work through this with you." This simple statement shows you're not their enemy. You're there to engage, not dismiss them or walk away. Then add, "Let's slow down." This sets the tone, providing a steady rhythm for the conversation without pleading for calm. If aggression lingers, you might say, "I hear your frustration, and I want to understand, but we need to talk at a level where we can really hear each other." Acknowledging their emotions validates them, helping to lower their guard. If all else fails, remember the E in pause. Gracefully exit by saying, "I'd like to continue this when we've both had a moment." Sometimes, giving space is the best way to reset the dialogue. Here's a quick recap for you. When someone is passive-aggressive, it is trickier because the behavior is harder to name in the moment. It is the subtlest of patterns because it's built on plausible deniability. When they say, "I was just saying," or "I'm fine," with a sharp edge, reacting makes you look oversensitive. The trap is ignoring the discomfort, which only reinforces the toxic cycle and allows resentment to fester. To break the loop, name the observation without accusation. Try this instead. "I noticed you said everything is fine, but I'm sensing frustration. What's actually going on?" Why it works is, "I noticed," is purely observational and very hard to argue with. "I'm sensing" offers a label for their unspoken feelings, making it safe to be direct. "What's going on?" is an open invitation to pull the real conversation to the surface. Even if they double down and deny it again, you've won by refusing to play the subtext game. By consistently bringing the implicit to the surface, you teach them that indirect behavior fails. Only directness works with you. You're effectively disrupting the pattern and protecting your peace. Here's a quick summary of dealing with a passive-aggressive person. Now, the third kind, a complainer. Let's be honest, dealing with chronic complainers tests your patience. Their relentless misery is highly transferable. The trap is jumping straight to advice, which often makes them feel unheard and triggers even more venting. To break the cycle, you must follow a specific sequence. Acknowledge first, then redirect. Try saying this: "That sounds genuinely exhausting. What do you think would help?" The strategy is to first acknowledge. Phrases like, "I see why that's wearing on you," validates their feelings without fueling the fire. Then redirect. Asking what would help is certainly a pattern interrupt. It forces them out of the problem-dwelling loop and toward active agency. If they insist that nothing can change, ask what an ideal version would look like. If they still won't pivot, it is okay to say, "I want to be helpful, but I'm not equipped to give you the support you deserve on this," and warmly suggesting they speak to a professional. Honesty isn't abandonment. It's a healthy boundary that protects your energy while directing them toward real support. Here's a quick recap on what can work with a complainer. When someone dismisses your ideas, you know you are dealing with a know-it-all person. The know-it-all treats direct challenges as threats, causing them to dig in and become more dismissive. To get your ideas heard, shift your objective from proving them wrong to making it safe for them. Try this next time. Say, "That's interesting. What's your concern with this approach?" When you start with "that's interesting," it isn't agreeing, it's declining a confrontation to keep the door open. Then asking for their concern forces them to explain their logic. As they talk, gaps in their reasoning often appear, or they may even talk themselves out of their stance. Finally, the pivot. Once they've finished, introduce your view as an addition, not a contradiction. Use phrases like "factor in" or "as well." This adds your perspective without challenging their view. By framing your ideas as complementary rather than competing, you work with their need for expertise instead of fighting it. Respecting their position without flattering them makes them more open to hearing yours. The goal isn't to win, it's to move forward. Here is a quick recap on what can work with a know-it-all person. If you look across all 4 difficult personality types, the common thread is a refusal to match their energy. You never meet aggression with volume or a know-it-all with combativeness. Instead, you master 3 core moves. You acknowledge, make them feel heard. This lowers their defensive wall just enough to create a functional opening for dialogue. You redirect, calmly steer the interaction toward a productive outcome without forcing it or demanding they change. And finally, you stay grounded. By maintaining your tone and pace, your calm becomes the dominant energy in the room, effectively neutralizing theirs. Words are tools, and the language you choose dictates the outcome. When you stop improvising under pressure and start reaching for these specific strategies, difficult people lose their power to derail you. The more natural these tools become, the more you protect your peace and ensure that the conversation stays focused on what actually matters. Here is a quick recap on the 3 core principles for dealing with any of the 4 personalities. Step 4. The self-protection model. To handle difficult people effectively, move from reactive defense to intentional management. Use these 3 strategies to protect your peace and professional momentum. First, set limits, not ultimatums. Ultimatums are threats that trigger power struggles. Instead, try saying, "I'm not able to have a productive talk when voices are raised. Let's revisit." This is calm and hard to argue with. The key is consistency. Then, curate your exposure. Not everyone deserves equal access to your time. This isn't avoidance, it's intentional curation. Shorten or avoid visits with high-conflict people. If you can't avoid someone, like a boss, limit the emotional surface area by keeping interactions brief, structured, and focused. Finally, debrief and reset. Hard interactions leave your nervous system activated. Don't just push through, that energy accumulates as burnout. Take a moment to decompress and acknowledge the stress. Here are some tips for protecting yourself. Finally, let's look at how to debrief, reset, and get ready for the next time. By processing the interaction immediately, you prevent it from leaking into the rest of your day. After a hard interaction, you must debrief to discharge the lingering stress. It doesn't have to be complicated. Write, journal for 5 minutes to move the feelings from your body onto the page. Talk. Call a trusted friend for a timed 10-minute talk through, then let it go. Move. Physically shake off the cortisol through a walk or stretching. Movement is the fastest way to discharge stored stress. Underpinning this is a vital mindset shift. You are not responsible for managing another person's emotions, only your own response. When you internalize this, difficult people lose their power because you stop carrying what was never yours. To stay in control, diagnose the behavior type. Use the pause protocol before responding. Redirect with de-escalating language. Protect your energy through limits and recovery. Difficult people are a permanent feature of life, but being derailed by them is optional. It's important to debrief and reset for your emotional well-being. I'd love to hear from you in the comments on which of these types is the most challenging for you to navigate. If you're finding this helpful, hit like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into emotional intelligence.